listing in 7 days, right? Now, realistically, you might not sign the listing in 7 days, but you're gonna have a listing, somebody committed to you in the next 7 days, if you do what I say. So who is our note takers in here? Perfect. Will you promise to email me the most complete notes you can after this? Because what we're going to do is build a class for a different event. And I'm going to use you guys interactively for other ideas besides mine. Skyline, will you commit to help? Like, you guys know how to get a loan in the next 7 days too.
Absolutely.
So I want you to say, here's things that we do. Katie,
Yeah.
you need listings in the next 7 days too, right? Property management listings is no different important to you than real estate listings, right?
Yep.
So that's what I was doing, getting you off your phone. All right. So let's dive in. So this morning, Martha obviously said we're going to do next level training. Part of the next level training series is on our YouTube channel. It is on our YouTube channel. Now, a lot of people haven't watched it because it goes back a year or two, maybe 2 years. But what HomeSmart Next Level Training Series was, you know how I talk a lot about balance in life? And we need to make sure all the 6 F's are cranking and going good. Well, what I did is I invited a lot of guests in for this training series on supplements, how to avoid cancer, what to eat, what not to eat. We had a CPA come talk to us about real estate and taxes. We had, we had some really top producing agents, right? We had the #1 agent in Southern California on there recorded. We even had Nate Butcher out here because he was one of the big requests. People wanted to follow his career. So if you go back and watch part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think it was 10 weeks, you will learn a tremendous amount about everything real estate and not real estate related. Is that wind?
Yes. Yes.
We're like a haunted office. So anyway, so we were supposed to start that series. I'll just be honest, I didn't do it. So what I wanted to do is really book up some serious guests without trying to repeat too much. I mean, the guests we had were so good last time. I want them back, but I feel like we should mix it up a little bit. So that didn't work out as well as planned, but we just know come spring we're going to have our next level training series again. Cool?
Cool.
Excited?
Yes.
I am too. All right. So you guys know how I feel about buyers.
Yeah.
I think some of you that might be, well, it doesn't even matter. If you're old in the business, you really don't like buyers. If you're new in the business, you're learning to hate them quickly in a market where we have no inventory. That listing I put on Green Hill on the market yesterday, we accidentally put it in as a low commission to the selling agent, which I vowed to never do, but we have a newer assistant that accidentally put it in at 2%. We don't do that. Still, to this morning, before I got here, I had 30, 40 calls on that house. And I said, you guys, I thought I priced it good. I didn't underprice it, did I? And they're like, it doesn't matter. It's just the inventory is so low. I didn't think that could happen again this spring, but it's going to happen. So is it good to be in control of the sellers in this market right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's get in some control of them. All right. So for probably the first day, what I would do, if I wanted a listing in the next 7 days, and you guys know probably what I'm going to say, is I would work on my social media incredibly. When I say work on social media, I wouldn't just take who you have on there now. I would find every single other person possible. So do you believe that you're friends with everybody you were in high school with on your social media?
No.
No. Every day, somebody from the past hunts me down and friend requests me. Every day, one of those people I find out still live in this town. I haven't seen these people in I don't even know how long, whatever 1990 was, 100 years at least. I want to tell you a story about that Green Hill property. Okay, I'll already separate you guys. Nope, you're not going to do this like you did yesterday. Nope. No. Okay, so that Green Hill property I was telling you about, just yesterday we did this. The Green Hill property I was telling you about, I got a listing last week. And the guy called me, and I didn't go to high school with him, but he hung out with a guy I did go to high school with, who as a matter of fact 2 years younger than me. He called me up and he said, hey, I'm Donnie, do you remember me? Oh yeah, me. I'm like, usually I can kind of pick it up. He's like, we used to hang out at Mike's house, and we'd order pizza and drink beer all night, and I just couldn't place it, and pretty soon I just said, whatever, let's just set an appointment. So I got to his house. And it turns out he'd been stalking me on Facebook. Now this guy doesn't even have a profile picture on Facebook. He's not a social media guy. I said, how did you find me on Facebook? He said, last year when you were in Maui, you posted a picture. Our friend we went to high school with liked it. It popped up in my feed, and I've been watching you ever since. How random is that? So first of all, the people that say, oh, you should never post your vacations, crazy, right? Because people post things about life events. A vacation, for me, is a life event. So I post things. I believe in lifestyle. I believe in people like to hang out, what do you call birds of a feather?
Flock together.
I believe that wholly, I really do. So if I'm into surfing, maybe some other surfing people would like to communicate with me. I guess I didn't finish getting dressed this morning. If I'm into camping, like Veronica and I are, other camping people around there. So the bottom line is, I would find out what your likes and interests are. Find the groups in Santa Clarita, okay? Find them and say, okay, there's a sewing group, a knitting group. There's weird groups out there that you are into weird things, and you could be part of the weirdos that still buy and sell homes. There is high school people that you need to reach out to. There is old teachers, old counselors. You don't think about your sphere of influence, but when you think about it deeply, there's so many people out there. It doesn't have to be your sphere of influence. Let me tell you what I've done in the past. I've gone through the groups. Man Cave is my favorite. Who in here is part of Santa Clarita Man Cave group?
Man cave.
Man cave.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Manslaughter?
You said it.
Man creep.
Oh, maybe I'm just tired, sorry. The man creep, the creepy dudes group, you want to be in it? So I like that group. There's dude stuff in there. It doesn't bore me. Like there are those housewife groups, right, that sell like one pair of socks for their baby that have a hole in it for $1, and it costs you $10 in gas to get there. So I hang out in the other groups that are more manly, desert, camping, things like that, and I find like-minded people, and I look at their mutual friends, and if there's enough mutual friends or significant mutual friends, I'll actually reach out to them and say, look, we're in this group together. We have 25 mutual friends. I'm a real estate agent in town. I would like to be a resource for you. Friend request. And I get a lot of people like that. So of my 5,000 or 400, 900, I got like room for 5 today. Because remember, every morning I sit on the pot and delete people's birthdays that aren't involved in my life anymore. Be honest, right? If you do that, it works. Because it's easy to get to 5,000 friends. But as I cultivate these people, I reach out and do a lot of different things. So if you were to do that for the next day or two and build your friends up pretty high, be careful because Facebook will shut you down if you're doing 200 a day. They're going to be like, uh-oh, these people are on a major real estate spam blast. But communicate with them properly. Their algorithms are very smart. If you're not properly connected with somebody, they think you're going to spam them. Send the messages out. Either way, build up your social media. So another thing that I've found out lately is my Instagram, when I only have a couple thousand followers, is working just as good, if not better, than Facebook. Some of you have known me a while. I said in the past, I will never be on Instagram. I will never like Instagram. Here I am spending money on Instagram ads, right? I hope you're still watching, Dan, because I want some of these ideas we got to do. But reaching out to these people, it's kind of cool because what I found out is when I look for friends on Instagram, it shows me different friends than Facebook, although they're kind of the same thing. If your friends are on Facebook and you can't communicate with them, is it okay to follow people on Instagram that you want to say, oh wow, so-and-so's following me? So I'm doing a little bit of strategic stuff like that and it's working. People that never normally would follow me are now following me. Also, a really good tip that I learned not too long ago, have your business page or another business page, your name, Mike Bjorkman, right? People think it's a normal page, but it's your business page too, that you could advertise off of. So there's a lot of different things you could do. With those two things connected, you can create a Facebook audience special ad campaign that'll go directly into their messenger box. If you get a message in Facebook, is that pretty much the same as a text message? You're going to read it. I mean, if you can sit here and tell me I don't read Facebook messages, you might want to go get an application somewhere down the street around the corner, because that's a very big reality. So if you're afraid to direct message people and send messages, even on Facebook, do small video, get into their stories. But what I'm trying to say is reach out to as many people and make as many connections as you can to talk to them. Everybody knows Kelly Gomez in here, right? She's one of our top agents. She has put me on her, I'm sorry if you're watching, you don't want me to see your secrets, but too bad, we share her. She's awesome. She's put me on her sphere of influence email campaign. She's actually using a CRM and I'm getting the emails. I would imagine she put me on there to help guide her through the process. So she sent a really good one out today. It says, hey, I'm just checking in. The market's changing. Did some of you get that too? So, all right. So she wants everybody to see it. So I replied back to her and I said, that's a good email. Make sure you follow up with the phone call. If you guys don't know, you can send out as many emails as you want to, and nobody's going to open them for the most part. If you get a 10% open rate, that's really good. You can increase that up to the 60s, all the way up to the 80s with BombBomb videos. I know I blast you guys a lot about BombBomb videos, but if you want 8 out of 10 instead of 2 out of 10 people to open up your email, you might want to invest in that for $50 a month. It's really good. Anyhow, so she texted me back, like she always does, and she said, Mike, would you mind sharing your script with me? Of course. So I called her because I wanted to role play it, right? I didn't want to sit there. If you guys have ever emailed me, you know I'm not a real good emailer. I'm like, yes, no, and that's about all you get from me. so I called her, and good, I got her voicemail, exactly what I was trying to do, right? So I go, hey Kelly, it's Mike Bjorkman. I sent you an email yesterday. I hope you got it. Anyways, I was talking about the market, low inventory, and raising interest rates. I'd like to make sure you're on my home seller watch program. I've purchased some very sophisticated software that'll email you every time a home in your neighborhood comes on the market. I want you to know the market as well as I know the market, right? Second thing is, I've heard lately from Skyline Mortgage, some rates are in the 5% range. As you know, that's a lot higher than others. It may be a good time to consider what a 30-year mortgage now would look like compared to a higher interest rate, if that's going to be a home you stay in a long time. Anyways, at least let me know if you got my email. If I don't have your right information, let me know. My email is mike@teambjorkman.com. My cell number is 212-8075. Look forward to hearing from you. Pretty simple. Is it long? Yeah. Is it informative? Mm-hmm. If that doesn't work, I can always slide dial. You guys know what slide dial is, right? Mm-hmm. So upload slide dial and leave that message. Hey, it's Mike Bjorkman. It doesn't say, hi, John, hi, Cindy. It doesn't say anything. It just says, hey, let's just chat on your voicemail. I don't like slide dial a whole lot because I can tell when people are doing it to me, but there's a lot of people that aren't as sophisticated as us, and they don't get it. They just know somebody hung up on them from a weird random number 2 hours ago. All of a sudden they have a voicemail, they don't think nothing of it. So you can mass produce this thing. You might want to get Twilio, mass texting software. Upload all your contacts to that. And we can have a debate over should you text, what the laws, well, I don't care. I'm going to text everybody.
How do you spell it? What was it?
Twilio, like Twitter, but ILEO, I don't know. Just type in bad spelling Twilio mass texting software. John, my business partner from California Leasing, he uses it in conjunction with all of his clients at Honu Coffee, because he owns Honu Coffee. And they get very, very good results from that. You guys with me so far? Yeah. We're trying to contact a lot of people right now, right? Yeah. Okay, here's the next easiest thing. I guess this would be idea number 2, or is that 3? It might be 4 or 5 now. I can't keep track. But what I'd like you guys to consider is in your phones, oh, it's over there. In your phones, hit your contacts. I don't know if you've ever done this, scroll to the bottom and see how many there are. I happen to have 10,000 something in my phone. A lot of people I can call, right? So what I would do is I would go somewhere where you get really good cell reception, or export your entire phone book into a CRM and start working with that and say, hey, here's Mike Bjorkman. Make sure he's probably somebody who can afford to buy and sell real estate, rental properties, possibly commercial property, and probably still lives in the area we're going to find out. So I'm going to search Mike Bjorkman on Facebook, right? We're going to add him there. We're going to follow him on Instagram. We're going to Google him and steal their email address, and all that stuff. And you guys know about Intellius, right?
Yes.
Okay. I talk about it all the time. I just saw my credit card statement yesterday. It was $20. $20 a month to have everybody's email and cell phone in your phone. Some people don't like calling and saying, "Hey Andy, it's Mike Bjorkman. How you doing today? Want to play?" No?
Oh, we're in role play right now?
Yeah.
Round 2, sorry, what'd you say? I'm looking at your Facebook Live and all this.
Oh, is there anybody saying anything on it?
Yeah.
Were we doing good?
Yeah, we're doing good
So,
so
hey
far.
Andy, it's Mike Bjorkman. How are you?
Doing good, how about yourself?
Good, man. Hey, I was going through my contacts in my phone, and I was actually organizing all my people that are going in next year's Christmas list, and I noticed all I have is your cell phone number. Is it okay if I got your address and your email so I can send you invites to events and keep in touch with you better?
Sure.
Thanks. What is it?
123 Cherry Street and...
Awesome.
and
So
home.
before we hang up, you own a home in Santa Clarita, right?
Yes.
How would you like to know the value of every single home in your neighborhood as they come on the market without you having to search websites and call agents? Would that be good?
Sounds nice.
If I set you up for that and got emails, would you reply back to me when you got it?
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. Let me verify your address. Have a good day, Andy. Move on. Right? I didn't ask for business. They obviously know I'm a real estate agent. They like me now because I'm going to offer them to be on my Christmas card list. If you say, "Hey, I'm going to put you on my Christmas card list," do you think, "God, Mike is an asshole"? No, that's kind of cool. I never knew Mike liked me that much. Right? I'm also inviting him to events and cool stuff. It's not a big deal, bless you. So the bottom line is we have to pick up the phone and work. Right? We have to reach out, we have to do a little due diligence, but we could reach thousands of people in 1 week. Do you believe you can do that?
Mm-hmm.
If you shut your door, scheduled your prospecting time, and really did that, do you feel you can get a listing in 7 days?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know if I pick up the phone for 1 hour, I can find a listing. You think I wouldn't even be here right now, right? But it's exhausting, we all know. But I know 1 hour of calling my friends in Sphere of Influence, I can get a listing referral, period. Bar none. All I have to do is 1 hour. Yeah.
Another one is, instead of Intellius, is Spokeo. I find it better results from Spokeo.
Spokeo, please write that down because I'd like to research that too. There's a few different ones, but that's the one yeah, David.
I'll throw my name in the hat.
Okay.
I've used both of those products, and the one I've been most happy with lately has been called Verified.
Been verified. That's another one.
It's
So
and it's cheaper. Initially it was more, I think, but I got a 6-month program for $40 or $50.
all right. So David Hoshaw, if you're watching there, it says been verified, $40 or $50 for a 6-month program, getting better results than
Yep.
Spokeo.
Spokeo and Intellius. I'll say white pages too. Some of the hardest numbers to find are on white pages. You're like, what the heck? So we subscribe to both of them. But here's this database that we're building that is so crucial and so important, and we can massively email thousands of people in 1 day, massively text thousands of people in 1 day, hit up so much social media, whether it's LinkedIn. We should talk about LinkedIn, right? Here's what I like and hate about LinkedIn. If you don't know, LinkedIn is for corporate people to brag about themselves. Especially the higher up, the more douchebags they get. But that's okay. The higher up people actually can afford to buy and sell real estate.
That's right.
So these people have an image to uphold in the corporate world, which I hate. But that means they're not on Facebook. So you're going to have to find them on LinkedIn, not Facebook. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you can't find somebody on Instagram and Facebook, I can almost guarantee you if they're worth prospecting to, they have a LinkedIn resume or profile. Cool? So there is LinkedIn classes that Deanna and I have done. If you download the Stark social app, STARK, and watch our webinars from the last couple of years that are free, you'll learn a little bit how to work LinkedIn better. When we start the new series, of course, that'll be updated, but there's plenty of training on YouTube and especially the webinars that we've done. Ad spend is a little pricey on LinkedIn. Like if you ever tried to put a resume on there, you'll feel $500. But anyways, it works. And that's the point I want to talk about today. So what other digital methods as a group can we collectively come up with for our notes to massively reach people, or not even massively, individually is okay too, like I just called Andy. Anything else?
Door knocking.
training.
Okay. That's not very digital, but I like it.
Well, I print out everything from the MLS from our just listed, just sold. So everything that I have is digitally printed.
That's hilarious. Okay, we're going to get to that. So if you guys didn't hear that, Cheryl said she digitally prints crap to go door knocking with. I got it over there.
So what's the difference between using the coal resources versus the cheaper ones we just talked about?
All right, so Cole Realty Resource is an amazing database that's even better to go after bankruptcies, divorces, NODs, things of that nature. It is an awesome platform. A little bit more expensive, and that is a whole different class. That is a niche farming class, but you could actually use that and say, today, I'm gonna call everybody in bankruptcy. There's nothing wrong with that. You have all their information, you just say, hey, what's up? You know, you're in bankruptcy, I could totally help you.
And it links seamlessly with
It's-
Vulcan 7.
Yeah, and it links with Vulcan 7. And how would that benefit us with Vulcan 7?
Cole Realty Service, they have
Oh,
a
there is.
contract with Vulcan 7 where you import all the leads into Vulcan 7 and you can call them and give addresses and everything like that.
So it turns into your dialer in essence.
Exactly.
Vulcan 7 and Cole connect. All right,
Lab
cool.
Coat Agents just did a special for them, by the way.
Okay, so Vulcan 7 or
No,
Cole?
Cole.
Okay, I think Lab Coat Agents has Vulcan and Cole Realty specials. If you guys don't hang out in Lab Coat Agents all the time, and if you're not already purchased your room and your tickets for June 16th and 17th, I think? 20th, June 20th?
Yeah, 26.
Down in San Diego, you guys are nuts. This is the very best real estate conference you can go to in 2018. If you miss it, you're stupid. That's it, period.
Is that for the?
Lab Coat Agents.
Oh, Lab Coat Agents,
Mhm.
okay.
So we're going to be there.
Okay.
Hopefully everybody's there that wants to take their business to the next level. Okay, so moving on from digital, let's go over to Cheryl, door knocking, right? Door knocking, I'll always say, is not my favorite, but I know it works because I did it for years and years and years. I personally like reaching thousands of people a day versus 20 or 30. You can see how the numbers might go a little different, right? But if you're in a neighborhood and you've already farmed it and you've already mailed to it and you've already done everything you can and you haven't door knocked it because you're scared to death, this is a really good week to go out and door knock it. And I would haul butt. When I say haul butt, you have your script, you stick to it, and you hit as many doors as you can. Because I've been out 8 hours and noticed that I've only talked to 10 people. And I couldn't think of a better waste of time, ever. Unless it was my very geographical farm within a quarter-mile radius of my home. Okay? I've proven this for years and years and years. There's people that like to debate that. No, I door knocked all day. I put a mile on. Yeah, I get it. You get lucky sometimes when we're talking about increasing our odds for the next 7 days, right? Okay. What else can we do besides door knocking and digital?
I have a buyer campaign.
I have a buyer campaign. Okay, so you know Jill Milady, right here, Milady Direct Marketing, could put out a postcard for you tomorrow. We know this because we do it for open houses. The I have a buyer campaign works if you do it right. Okay, you send to a neighborhood. I wouldn't do any less than 1,000. Probably not more than 5,000 just because of cost. But you can say I have a buyer. Now everybody in this room has a buyer, right? If you don't, better do some open houses and get some crazy stuff going. So you have a buyer, a legitimate buyer. Mr. and Mrs. Smith want a 3+2 in Saugus, built after 1980 with a 7,000 square foot lot or bigger, and they want it to be over 1,400 square feet. That's pretty specific, right?
Yeah.
Do we have buyers that are pretty specific?
Yes.
Or maybe only in this
Yes.
area?
Everybody is
Right?
specific.
I'll tell you my favorite. I don't even think I've ever told anybody about this before. In my broker years, I had a buyer in Stevenson Ranch one time that had to be in the certain price range back then. I think it was like from 4 to 6. And they only wanted to look at homes with super small yards, which is everything in Stevenson Ranch, luckily. Low maintenance yards with a view. Now, picture this. You have to look, this is before Google Earth, okay? Before Google. I had to know the market so well that I had to go street by street by street to pick out the view homes to do this mailer campaign. I sent these mailers out within 3 days, had like 3 or 4 listings. It was the easiest buyer campaign I ever did because I said, I walked your street. The buyer I'm working for wants a view. I know you have less than 2,000 square feet, which puts you in this price range. We're desperate to find a home. No other home is in the MLS as the time of this mailer came out. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, will you please call me if you're kind of considering moving? Now, the only reason those work, and because I've tried it a lot, is because you're specific, right? Where's Billy or Jean? Can we still do pool homes? I know that's not, we can now? Okay. There was a time where there was a weird time where we couldn't. That is the other gold mine. If you mail or call pool homes, people that have pools, if you've ever been to a listing appointment, they think their pool doubles the value of their home. Just the way it is. So in the letters that I used to send out would say, your value is much greater than your neighbor's. I have a buyer that only wants a pool. I know you have a pool. I've done the research. I also know you have between 2 and 2,500 square feet. I'd like to show your home if you're thinking of selling. Please call me. I used to get so specific that I'd say, even if you're not ready, I will not pressure you to list. I would just only ask you to respect my agency for this one buyer. I don't want to put up a sign. I just want to try this one, right? So they're like, that's cool. That is zero pressure. The guy's not a jerk. They'd call me and I'd fully list the property normally. Sign up the next day. I'd be like, what? Well, it doesn't matter. They just want to know you're not full of pressure and you're not a jerk. And has any other agent ever sent out a mailer like that? Never that I know of. Ever, ever, ever. So postcards, letters, you could use that yellow letters campaign. That's a really good one. And I think that would create a listing in the next 7 days. Honestly.
What's the yellow letters campaign?
Yellow letters, you could Google it. They write letters for you on the legal notepad, so it looks totally legit. Like you actually sent it to just that person. It's almost like a Post-it on a, it really stands out in your mind. I would love to see somebody try that, so we could prove that then I would help write the letter, I would help write the postcard, and I would bet. I don't want to pay for it, but I would bet you'd have a listing in 7 days. All right, so that's a good one. So everybody write that down, buyer campaign. What else?
I'll go online. I have to search on this investor group that I'm a part of, but they shared a website that basically you write out with your own handwriting, and it basically takes that and like reprints it so it actually looks like it's your handwritten, so you could send things out.
You can do that on iPads today too. There's plenty of apps for that. Write whatever you want and hit print, and you got a letter. That's totally legit. What would be the next thing I would personally do? Open house. I'd do an open house today, tomorrow. I would do it every day. If it ends in Y, I would do an open house. And I would do much of this stuff from that open house. I would pick one with really good Wi-Fi or my hotspot works fine. Does everybody have a hotspot in this room?
Yes.
Okay, you should, because they are going up and down at over 5 now. So this entire office runs off of 10. So I've done live webinars off of 5 up and down. So you can get your work done. Don't think because you're in a vacant house you can't get your work done unless there's no power to charge the darn thing. I would also listen to the podcast that I did about open houses that I talk about every week. I'm watching our team, and I don't know how much of our team is watching, but they're doing open houses and selling homes every week off them. Okay? It's a big deal when inventory is low. You're gonna pick up a seller, you're gonna pick up a buyer. And the Friday open house is probably my favorite. For those of you newer, I'll tell you one little story that half of you guys have heard. My old assistant, I forced her to do an open house. She was my TC transitioning into sales. And she says, I want to make money, I want to get my first sale, I said, all right, we're going to go do an open house on our new listing on Friday. I don't want to do an open house on Friday. She's used to 9 to 5, right? This is weird for her. And I said, we're going to do an open house on Friday. We did the open house. We sold $1 million house around the corner. Or actually it was our listing, we double-ended it. We listed their house, double-ended that. Bless you, got a referral. It was a cul-de-sac at the top of Hillcrest on the right, I forget the name. And then we sold that one, and then we just started popping them. Just in the first week, we made like 150 grand from one Friday open house. The legit lady came in, picked up her kids from school. I'll never forget her. I hated her kids. They were so nasty. But came with little kids, throwing stuff, and I talked to her. Horse Ridge I had up on the hill. And sure enough, bought it, and my assistant's just going, are you kidding me? And I'm like, why did I even bring you on this open house? I did it all day. I did open houses from 10 to 6 in the summer. A little bit earlier in the winter because it's freezing cold and it gets dark earlier. 10 to 6 were my open house hours. You guys have heard me say before, if I'm going to waste an entire day, might as well do it right.
So even on a Friday, you do it all day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably better to get out earlier because people coming home from dropping kids off, are like, what the open house? Open houses are an amazing way because you can door knock them, you can send the postcards, you can have drawings, you can do all kinds of things to attract people. So if you're trying the first couple of days to attract people that you already know or you have connections with, now we're going after people we don't know. So you have a much better chance of building that database of people that you don't know. And I'm telling you, when you say, type in that iPad your information, I'm going to put you in the drawing for a $100 gift certificate, they're not going to say, no, I'm not signing in. They do it. And that drips into your CRM. But the thing is, if you do open houses, especially at odd hours, you get to talk to people that no other agent gets to talk to. So even if you suck at open houses, you can still not screw up because they haven't talked to any other idiot agent that day. So you seem like the only person that makes sense. Because if somebody goes to open houses and sees 10 of them, there's probably a really good agent that snagged them or had another listing that they wanted or something, offered them a cheap commission. But if you're doing it at odd hours, you probably are going to get their listing. So if you listen on the podcast, I'll talk about how I never wanted to pick up a buyer. Honestly, I don't want buyers. I don't want to work with buyers. I want to work with listings. But why'd you do so many open houses? Because half of the people that can afford to buy have to sell first, whether it's out of the area, I don't care. Do we have an office in Northridge? Yeah. Are you an out of the area broker?
No.
No. I have an office in the second busiest intersection in all of San Fernando. Do we have an office in Palmdale?
Yes.
There's somebody coming from Palmdale sometimes.
Yes.
I have an office in Palmdale. I can list your house. It is the weirdest thing. People seen that we've opened Palmdale. How many listings do we have in Palmdale, Ryan? Do you know?
Oh yeah, there's a couple right now.
It's ridiculous. 4 in the last 2 weeks. I have not listed Palmdale since REO days. But the fact that we're expanding and saying we have offices in these places, people take notice. The fact we have an office there doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to them now. We're not an out of the area agent. That was my biggest challenge back when I worked at Remax in those days, because we were stuck in this one little office. We were always out of the area brokers and had to refer, and I don't want to work with you. Now it's like this whole floodgates open, which is really cool, especially for you guys trying to do business in other areas. Anyways, back to the open house thing. So not only do you get their listings if they're out of the area, but if they're in the area, I'm totally cool with that too. I'll take their damn listing in Santa Clarita or Northridge, right? All right. You guys see how that could possibly, in the next 7 days, bring you an open house. I want you guys to do open houses on the weekdays. Send me pictures of your open house signs on a Tuesday, and then at the end of the day, tell me what happened. Maybe 4 people came in, but if that 4th person made you 10 grand, would that be okay?
Yep.
Right? So Johnny, on our team, he did actually the same neighborhood where that $1 million listing was, Wild Horse Ridge. We had a listing, and this is last year. This isn't 10 years ago like that story, 15 years ago. Same neighborhood. Somebody was in there talking to him forever. So he's usually done around 4 or 5 o'clock, right? Talking. By the time he got out of there, it was like 5:45. This guy walked in and we double-ended the property, 5:45. He's one of the NFL football players from the Miami Dolphins that we sold the house to. Pretty cool story, right? Because it's only a year ago. I told him to stay late. They were not willing to stay as late as I asked them to, but he got forced into it and sold the house. That was a pretty cool paycheck we got, right? It was probably close to 50 grand. So, and it was in the first week that we did the open house. So 7 days, open house, okay? Remember, it starts today for the open house, whatever day it is, because that's what you're doing to get the marketing out there. What else would we do? What would you guys do to get a loan in the next 7 days? Everything I said, or is there something else?
Ask clients.
Same thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Ask clients.
Other than that,
we're covering a lot of it, right? I mean,
Yeah, you are.
we really got it covered right now. So we could go into some sort of niche marketing. I might even go out to all the nonprofits, because that's what we do. You know, we talked about the unique selling propositions, unique value propositions. I might even get a full-blown cold calling list and just hit the Mojo dialer and just call hundreds of people a day. You're going to get a listing in the next 7 days, even if you're cold calling. It doesn't have to be your sphere, right? It doesn't have to be your sphere. And if you haven't heard the story, the house I grew up in, my mom and I were sitting on the couch. Roxy Ramey, at the time Realty Executives, called my mom and she said, yeah, we're thinking of selling our house. Next night, Roxy came over. Next day, I signed in my yard, and I was like, jeez. So when I got into real estate and they said, Mike, you need to cold call, I said, okay. I saw it work, right? Mm-hmm. So that's not a bad thing. And cold calling was a thing of the past until just this year, now that we have all these services to give us the phone numbers. It's pretty cool. Don't want to talk about the do not call list. I don't care. You guys can work on that on your own. What else? What else is a cool idea? Yeah.
I mean, the idea of giving back to your community, being part of so many different events. Like
Oh,
we do.
the nonprofits. Dang it. Thank
Nonprofits
you.
are huge.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's good for your image and branding and all that.
Right? So today what I would do, because I happen to own a moving van, I'd say, hey, we happen to have the moving van available this weekend. Do you guys have any use for it? Great. When do you plan to move? Do you know anybody planning to move? It's a very easy thing. I would like to, what did I see on Facebook yesterday? And you guys might have seen it. Somebody posted, and it was a great post, hey, who knows of a nonprofit that could use some volunteer help? Anybody happen to see that yesterday? Mm-hmm. The post went super viral, like hundreds of comments on it. Like, I was like, why didn't I think of that? I'm like, yeah. So, but people were reaching out like crazy. If I was the agent that did that post, I'd call each and every one of those places and said, hey, Joe Smith said you might want, or you're from that nonprofit. And I would just make warm calls like that and just say, so-and-so introduced me, so-and-so introduced me. And I'm sorry everything goes back to social media, but that's really where it's at, especially for a 7-day turnaround time. Business owners. I would get the chamber website out, and I would go to every single chamber owner, and I would say, hey, as celebrating our grand opening for our new chamber, you're a chamber member, I'm a chamber member, I'm gonna have a spring special. We're gonna give you a free escrow, free home warranty, free dog biscuit, whatever you guys wanna offer. But I would go to the business owners. What I love about business owners is we are mentors to a lot of different people that work for us, right? So many of you call me for sound advice, which I love, because I hope you guide you through a direction that, you know, avoid some of the mistakes I've avoided. And the business owners are great. So I always tell you guys, I go after the top of the top. The general managers, the general sales managers, the owners, whatever title they have, those are the people I like to play business with. Those are the people I meet and strategically go after, whether it's social media, nonprofits, because they are the mentors for all the employees. It's hard to find a boss, especially a small business. We have the industrial center. What are we, the third largest industrial park in California? Gold mine, right? So it's almost impossible for the owner of a business, maybe they have 20, 30 employees, to not know somebody moving down below them. The amount of referrals I get from the bosses and the managers, hey dude, this is my best employee, will you please take care of him? Or hey, this person's worked for me for a long time. They're kind of qualified already because the boss is saying they're good people. You know, so sometimes it's buyers, yes, but a lot of times they have to sell too. And that's a really good one. So will you guys write that down for me? The other thing is too, is that investor database. You've probably, hopefully, got a lot of investors that have called you over the past, or maybe you can do special ads or posts for them. There's a lot of investors out there desperate. There's a lot of homes out there that you can sell. As a matter of fact, if you're really hungry, I can hook somebody up, or maybe a couple of you up, with a wholesaler out here. Have you ever guys seen the We Buy Ugly Homes signs?
Yes.
I'm working with a wholesaler that is spending $10,000 a day in lead generation, and they're dropping like 20, 30 homes a day on me, and I can't keep up with it. And if you guys want to learn how to wholesale, I can show you, maybe hook you up with some of that. Anywhere from Palmdale to Los Angeles to Redlands, they're all over the darn place. But if you're hungry, it's a good little business. My friend in Vegas did 38 deals last year with the guy. Anyway, so go to your investor database and find homes for them to buy. These homes are not hard to find in the MLS. If you search, they might have tons of offers on them, but I would go after those investors. If an investor likes you, they probably have a home that's in a rehab right now. Just my friend this morning, I said, how many rehabs you got going on right now? He goes, 3. And he goes, they're almost ready to list. I'm like, you have 3? And he's in Carlsbad too. And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? If you can find him, he's not lazy. I hope you're not watching. And we're in the group, we're safe, see? But I mean, like, there's investors out there with tons of properties, and if you get a hold of the right investor, they have multiple properties. Again, from Los Angeles to Palmdale, are we okay listing those?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Maybe something else I would do is I would probably hit up our kids' schools, you know, jump in the car line. If you guys, anybody have kids in here or something? A couple of us. I would jump in the lines, maybe the sports, maybe whatever you're into, and do kind of a push. You know, maybe your gym, that kind of thing. I went pretty hard on my gym this morning. I was like, that's it. I need people who want to buy and sell homes, and I just went through them and I talked to every one of them. You know, and I wasn't pushy, and they don't hate me. I like to pull money out of my gym. If it hasn't happened in a while, I get pissed. Your church, you know, maybe you could do some kind of event at your church, get something involved in that. But you can always say, look, there's going to be a certain portion of our commission we'll donate back to something. Whether it's a kid's school, whether it's PTA, whether it's a charity, give a reason for yourself to call. If you just call and say, do you want to sell your house? But if you say, hey, just so you know, during the spring special, anybody that you recommend to me, I'm also going to help our organization that we're part of. That feels a little bit better than saying, hey, dude, do you want to sell your house? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no.
And you mentioned earlier, but events work really well, just a reason to call them.
Mhm.
Like you rent out, you know, a theater, or you have a big event, or a barbecue, or whatever. Even though they can't go, they still appreciate the invite and give you a reason to call them.
Right. So that girl I was just talking about in Vegas, she has a huge event every year, Christmas party. Kathy, did you get invited to Brandy's party? You did? In Vegas? Didn't you refer a deal to her in Vegas? No?
No, that was the Stike.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a different somebody. Somebody in this room, I think, referred to Brandy Elkwhite in Las Vegas. She's a good friend of mine back in the Oreo days, and she invites everybody to this party. I'm like, Brandy, I'm never gonna go to your party. I don't care. I'm talking to you, right? Who do you know that wants to buy or sell in Vegas? Like 2 or 3 times in a year that happened. I'm like, that's genius. So yeah, every 90 days you should have an event. You might plan one out for 90 days. Today, call all your sphere. Great idea, Don. And say, in 90 days, we're having this event. What would it be? Easter egg hunt, beach barbecue, that kind of thing. Yeah, Cindy.
Club Wealth has the whole outline on how to do a client event from day one and even after the event.
Yep, you can go to clubwealth.com, click on blog, and scroll down. By the way, that's a good resource for a lot of training. A lot of training. I put a lot of time into those blogs, so there's a bunch of good stuff in there. What else can we do, you guys? Man, I don't know. There's as I look back at all the stuff that we just talked about, it's impossible not to have a listing in 7 days. Cindy, have you watched the David Knox videos or the series, 30 Days to a Listing?
Not all of them.
Okay, I haven't watched them all either. I wasn't gonna lie and say, oh, it's the best. But I've watched about half of them. Everything that David says is right. So you guys all have access to that subscription website. And there's a program you drop down on and it says series and it says 30 days to a listing. It's really good. It's got printouts, it's got workflow charts, it's got checklists, and you just sit there, wake up in the morning and go, okay, this is what I'm gonna do for the next 30 days. And if you can cram a lot of it and get it done in 7 days, I bet you can. Because I can't wait to hear how many people say, dude, I got a listing in 7 days by doing what we're saying. And then the calls that I get saying, I did what you said and didn't get a listing in 7 days, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about how intense you went with it, right? Let's think of it as a boot camp. You're not gonna get treated fairly in boot camp. You're not gonna eat at the hours you're used to. You're not gonna sleep at the hours you're used to. But if you really truly want a listing in 7 days, it'll happen. Here's the nice thing about listings. If you have one, the next one is super easy and it starts snowballing. So if any of you really wanted to be a listing agent and waiting for stuff to fall in your lap, go out and get it. Give it that 7-day challenge.